COVID-19 strategies, how to keep motivated and stay in control during a crisis. And today's strategy is how old dogs learn new tricks. I'm Dr. Zed, creator of the Breakthrough System, and I am only going to take about 10 to 15 minutes of your time, but we're going to go through some great information and strategies to make the most of the situation and help you stay in control during this crisis. But before we dive into this discussion, it'd be great to hear from you. So please leave a comment and let me know what part of the world you're in the comments feedback down below, and of course ask any questions you have and during the next 15 minutes or so, and I'll do my best to answer them. And if you're watching this on a replay, still leave a comment or still leave a question, and I'll be sure to get back to you in the next day or so. Now, it's natural to feel lost at sea and overwhelmed during moments of sudden and enforced change like we're experiencing at the moment. I mean, it's natural to feel unsure. It's natural to feel vulnerable during these moments of upheaval. And, you know, this COVID-19 crisis has forced over half of the planet into lockdown. It's confined us to our homes. It's taken away our freedoms of movement. It's curtailing our social interaction. It's forced a great many of us to change how we work, to change how we study, how we interact with one another. And for some, this change has been easier to adapt than others. But for many, though, it's a time of frustration, a time of anger, a time of stress. But when you can control your reactions to sudden change, you can learn to feel less overwhelmed and more empowered and confident with what you're doing. Most people, however, have not been trained in managing how they think. Therefore, they find it difficult to manage sudden and unexpected situations like we're experiencing with the COVID-19 crisis. And this is a problem because, I mean, our brains are wired to respond to negative thoughts and feelings more quickly than positive thoughts, because if everything seems to be under control, then the brain sends messages to the body that no action is required. And, you know, it can relax. And this is important because psychologists have actually estimated that we have between something like 12 and 60,000 thoughts per day. I mean, that is an amazing number of thoughts. I mean, there's a school of thought out there that says it's way less. But there's also a school of thought out there that says it's way more. But even if it's only 5,000 thoughts per day, that's still a lot of thoughts per day. But, and here's the thing, 90 to 98% of those thoughts are repetitive. So 90 to 98% of the thoughts you had today, you had yesterday. Now, this is a problem because 80% of those thoughts are negative. 80% of those 12 to 60,000 thoughts are negative. And you know, when I read this statistic a while back, I actually thought, you know what, I want to work out how many thoughts that is a day. I want to work out how many it is a week, a month, a year. I want to work out how many negative thoughts we have per year. And it's amazing. It's astounding. The sum actually comes to 3 to 17 million negative thoughts per year per person. 3 to 17 million negative thoughts per person per year. I mean, that's astounding. Imagine if that was 3 to 17 million positive thoughts. I'll just leave you with that thought. But here's a graph, and I want to highlight what this actually means. Here's a graph that highlights the impact of our thoughts. It's an effectiveness graph or curve, and basically where we want to be, where everyone ideally wants to be, is here in the motivated zone, right? Okay, so with a moderate amount of input of energy, we get a pretty good return here of effectiveness and productivity here. Unfortunately, when we get stressed, we're putting in a lot more energy, but our return is not quite as good. And even here with burnout, we're putting in a lot of energy. We're running and running and running and running, but our productivity and our effectiveness is pretty low. Now look at it on the other side of the scale up here with laziness. I mean, we're putting in just a very, very small amount of energy because we're lazy, but we're actually not doing too bad. We're actually getting a bit of effectiveness and productivity here. That's because of efficiency. Lazy people are very efficient. And Henry Ford, who I'm going to quote right at the end of this talk, he actually, when he invented um, the production line of Ford motor cars, he actually went down onto the assembly line and he used to seek out the laziest person on the assembly line and he said it's because the laziest person is the most efficient. They've worked out the most efficient way to work, the most efficient way that the assembly line can work too. So he went and found the laziest person. But that's a side story anyway. But look at this. Look at procrastination. You put in very, very minimal amount of energy and you get virtually zero return, okay, on that. But you know what? It's better to be lazy. It's better to be lazy than to procrastinate. But it's also, this has an effect, if you're stressed and in burnout. And we're sort of, our society at the moment, well, the whole world at the moment is here in this stress, high anxiety. So we're not being effective. Okay, we're not being effective. So in short, poor thinking and high anxiety, it really severely limits your effectiveness, especially in a time of crisis. So what can we do about it? How can we best adapt to change and stay in control during these uncertain times? How can we change old habits and learn new skills? I mean, how can an old dog learn new tricks? Okay, well, I'm about to show you. How, and it's a lot easier than you might be thinking. And it all has to do with how your brain is wired. So if you've been following me over the last 3 or 4 nights, the first few sessions 1, 2, and 3, you'll be familiar with this. But if you're following me here for the first time this evening, I just want to recap and introduce you to what's called the triune model of the brain. This was developed by Paul D. MacLean in the 60s. And he was a physician, and he based this model on the evolutionary functionality of the brain. And he said there were 3 main areas of the brain. And the first one is the forebrain, which is called the neo-mammalian or neocortex. It's our seat of intelligence, where we have our reason, self-awareness, analysis, planning. Basically, this area of the brain is what separates us from the rest of the animals. We have also what's called the midbrain, which is situated in the midbrain area of our head, and that is the seat, or it's called the paleomammalian or the limbic area. It's our seat of emotions. Okay, it's where we have our imagination, dreams, our rewards, our pleasure and pain center. And there's a little acorn-sized nodule in there called the amygdala, which actually runs the whole show in there. The final part, or the third part, is what's called the reptilian brain, and that's the hindbrain. It sits right at the back of the brain, right where the spine meets the brain, and that's really, really the oldest part of the brain. It's responsible for our instincts, our survival, our fight and flight response, our involuntary reflexive instincts. Okay, so the 3 levels of our brain actually crave certainty, all right? It's just the way it's wired. And your neo-mammalian forebrain, it likes to plan and analyze. It likes to keep things under control. It likes to predict the future, work out what's going to happen, which is why it really, really dislikes uncertainty. Your paleomammalian midbrain, well, basically, it just likes to seek pleasure and it likes to avoid pain. And it reacts emotionally to what's going on, and it often overreacts. So when fear or stress or overwhelm kicks in, it's the amygdala that's working in overdrive, and uncertainty triggers many fear and stress-producing emotions and behaviors. Now, the reptilian hindbrain, well, that's just wired for one thing, and that's to keep you alive, which is why safety and survival is paramount for your reptilian brain. And any uncertainty is seen as a threat that must be avoided. So what this means is that we view the world through these 3 filters: beliefs or thoughts, emotions, and survival. We view the world through a filter of our beliefs. We view the world through a filter of our emotions, and we view the world through the natural instincts of survival and safety. That's how we see the world. It doesn't get through to our perception unless it goes through one or all of these three filters. And I go into a lot more detail of this in my books that I've just released last year in November. It's up to you why most people fail to live the life they want and how to change it. And the banana trap, how to escape a life of stress and finally break free. All you have to do is just search Zarcina's books, Zarcinas, just search, in whatever you use, Google or Bing or Yahoo, and it will come up. And I'll go into a lot more. So if you just want to learn more details in that, please just search it up and get those books. But now that we know a little bit about what's going on inside the brain, how is it possible to adapt to these changing circumstances and stay in control? Well, the technique I'm about to teach you, it works by allowing your higher brain centers to override the lower brain centers. So in a crisis, it's the higher brain functions that need to take control. Otherwise, your mind gets swamped with emotions of fear, stress, panic, and instinctive fight and flight reactions. Now, there are many strategies to help, okay? Many out there. But the one I want to introduce you to is called the Wheel of Change. And it's a belief-changing tool. And it's an extremely powerful tool to help change old habits and negative ways of thinking. But it will only work if you're consistent with it and you're committed to change. You have to want to change, okay? I always remember I used to work as a GP in a place called Port Macquarie, which is about 6 hours drive north of Sydney. It's a wonderful little place in the world. And this was in the 90s, and I used to be flabbergasted by the amount of people that would come to me. Let's say, "Doc, yeah, I've got this problem. Yeah, I'd write them a prescription, take it back. I'd see them in a week, and I'd ask them how they're going. Oh, yeah, Doc, still got this pain, not feeling so good. Well, have you taken the pills? Have you taken the medication? Oh, no, I forgot to get it." And they come up with so many excuses as to why they wouldn't take their medication. And then I realized over time they didn't want to get better. And it just blew my mind. They did not want to get better. There was a benefit for them remaining unwell. Now, I don't know what that benefit was. Maybe they got more attention from their wife or their husband because they were sick, or maybe they got more money from the government because they were on some sort of sickness pension. So they didn't want to get better. But this is the thing. You have to want to get better, because if you don't want to get better, if you don't want things to change, then it isn't going to happen. That's why you have to be committed to it. So this belief-changing tool, it works in this way. So I just want you to think of any negative thought or negative behavior that you think that you've been wanting to change for a while. And believe me, I know you've got a negative thought, and we all do. I've just shown you have 3 to 17 million of them each year. So just choose one of them. Just choose one, like things like that. One of the common ones is, "Oh, I'm not clever enough. Oh, I can't do that. I can't do that." So that's a negative thing. So I just want to ask you, if you've got a negative thought or belief, I just want you to write it down, take a pen, and then I'm going to give you these questions to ask yourself. And at the end of it, we're going to change that negative belief or that negative attitude into a positive one. So the first question that I want you to ask yourself is, why is this belief true? Why is this belief 100% true? Okay. If you believe you're not clever enough, if you believe you're not attractive enough, if you believe you don't have the skills to do what you need to do, if you just believe that you just can't do something, why is this belief 100% true? Okay, you need to answer this. Because then I want to ask you the next question is, when has this belief not been true? Okay, when has this belief not been true? Because I'm sure there are times when you have been clever enough to do something, or there have been times when you have been able to do something similar that you said you can't do. Okay, so when has this belief not been true? The next question to ask is, well, what effect does this belief or negative attitude or negative thought have? What effect does it have? Now, if you believe you're not clever enough to do something, has this stopped you from actually trying? Has it caused you to procrastinate, or has it actually caused you stress, or has it caused you anxiety, or has it caused you to feel depressed about yourself? Okay, so what effect has this belief had? So I then want to ask you to project yourself in 5 to 7 years and ask, well, who will you be in 5 to 7 years with this belief still in place? So if nothing changes, if you still have this belief that you're not clever enough, or you're not attractive enough, or you're not good enough, if you still have that belief in 5 to 7 years, who are you going to be? Who are you going to be? Which leads to the next question is, well, where will you be if this belief is still in place, if it hasn't changed? Where will this belief take you in 5 to 7 years? Is it going to take you anywhere, or are you going to remain in the same place? Okay, where is this belief going to take you if it's not changed? So I'm now going to ask you, well, how would your life change without that limiting belief, or without that negative thought? How would your life change? How would it change? Would it change for the better? So if you're going to change, if you are going to change it, well, now is the time to change. Okay, now is the time to change it. If you're thinking you're not clever enough, why not change that belief into saying, well, if I am not clever enough, but I will be clever if I learn up a little bit more about how to do it, or if I investigate, or even if I just do a Google search on how to do something. You can find the information out there. So that belief doesn't have to stay the same. So Martin Luther King said, if not now, then when? If not you, then who? All right. So if you consistently ask yourself these questions, why? Why is this 100% true? When has this belief not been true? What effect does this belief have? Who will you be in 5 to 7 years with this belief still in place? Where will this belief take you if it isn't changed? And how would your life change without that limiting belief? If you consistently ask yourself these questions and commit to changing your thoughts and behaviors, the wheel of change, belief changing tool, will be extremely effective for you. I mean, even old dogs can learn new tricks. And as Henry Ford said, whether you think you can or think you can't, you're right. Whether you think you can or think you can't, you're right. So what do you choose? Now, if you want to break through your barriers and be more effective in these times of crisis, I invite you to take the My Breakthrough Persona quiz and find out your breakthrough persona mindset and accelerate your effectiveness, and so that you can become what you're capable of becoming. And all you need to do is go to this link, bit.ly/breakthrough quiz online. That's bit.ly/breakthrough quiz online. Do the quiz. It takes 4 minutes. That's all it takes. And that will sign you up to a online sort of course of which take about 10 minutes each. So it will take about 40 minutes of your time over the period of about 4 or 5 days. So not a lot, but the effect it will have will be amazing for you. Okay, so just sign up, get on board, do the quiz, and we'll start the process. You'll be emailed 1 email a day on how to be more effective and break through your barriers. So please do that. And if you like what you heard today, I'd really appreciate it if you just like up in the corner. If you just like there, that would be great. Or if you're on your mobile device, just please find the little icon, just like it. And if you can, if you want to, please join up with my groups as well. Just scroll to the right and find the groups there and join the Breakthrough System group. And lastly, again, if you want any more information, if you want a lot more information, I go into greater depth. All you have to do is search as Arsina's books, and you'll find all my books, and especially the Banana Trap, and it's up to you. So thank you, people. It's been great. It's been really enjoyable this week. I'm glad that you've joined me. If you've missed any of the sessions, just scroll down the page that you're on, and you'll find the earlier sessions that we had during the week, and just review them. And hopefully I've helped in some way during this crisis. And you know what? We're going to have one big party at the end of it, aren't we? When it's all over. And I'll invite you all. It'll be great. Thank you then. Bye-bye.